What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to Celio's Network. Today I'm reviewing all of the cards that were revealed and translated from the set Matchless Fighters. On March 19th, when we're getting Battle Styles, Japan is getting Matchless Fighters, which is a 70 plus card set, and it will be roughly half of the cards that make up our June 18th set, which is Chilling Reign. So we'll be looking at all of these today, and I'll be reviewing them for their standard format viability. And so shouts out to Poke Beach for having the scans and translations. If when this set comes out and this upcoming week when Battle Styles comes out, you need PTCGO codes, be sure to check out PotownStore.com and use code Celio for 5% off. So we're getting 3 VMAX cards, the Vs that go along with each of the VMAXs, and then 3 other Vs in this set, handful of trainers, and I don't think many of the non-V Pokemon are super interesting, but there's a lot of there's not a lot of cards in this set. So this plus the set following this, which is split up into 2 mini sets, Jet Black Spear, Jet Black Poltergeist, and then like Ice Spear or something. Those are the 2 sets coming out after this in Japan in April. So Matchless Fighters plus those 2 sets will make up our Chilling Reign set due out June 18th. Okay, so we've got a Beedrill line, and this is a card that we've already seen before. It was previously translated. The first attack reads, if your opponent's active Pokemon has any special energy attached, that Pokemon is knocked out, and this is a single strike card. So this could be brought straight into play with Single Strike Mustard, with if you can empty your hand and get this from the deck right to the board, attach an Aurora energy to it, and just pop something with a special energy. So this is actually a pretty scary card if you think about it like that. Might be a card that sees play at some point. Now obviously stage 2s and non-rule box Pokemon in general just aren't very good right now, but this card does have some sort of potential because it's just an instant knockout if they have special energy attached, and Single Strike Energy, Rapid Strike Energy, Aurora Energy are all really strong cards, as well as some of the types having their own energies that are like used in every deck with that type in it, like Speed Energy for lightning types, Horror Energy for psychic types, Coating Metal for metal. Hiding Dark is typically tossed into dark decks, so Beedrill has some potential. Heracross is a single strike Pokemon, but its attack is on a coin flip. Flip 2 coin if both are heads. This attack does 160 more damage. So unless we get a single strike card that like guarantees coin flips or something, this is not very good. Petal and Lilligant. Okay, Lilligant's just bulk. We've got Blaziken V and Blaziken VMAX next. So Blaziken V, 210 HP, Rapid Strike Pokemon. Keep in mind that Rapid Strike Energy provides water and fighting, so it won't work for the fire energies here, but it will work for the colorless energy. So whenever we're looking at Rapid Strike Pokemon or Single Strike Pokemon, keep in mind the other existing support that they have, like Octillery, Houndoom, the Mustards, their special energy, etc. So this Blaziken can do Fire Spin for 4 energy to do 210. Not too bad. But we're really going to look at Blaziken VMAX. So Blaziken VMAX has Clutch, 60 damage, and the defending can't retreat. Not a horrible attack, but not worth playing the card for. The second attack, Max Blaze, is reminiscent of Mega Manectric, kind of, and Solgaleo GX. So for 2 colorless, it does 130, and you attach an energy card from your discard pile to up to 2 of your benched Rapid Strike Pokemon. So this card can make a Rapid Strike box type deck exist. So you can play Rapid Strike Urschafu to cover fighting weakness, Empoleon V to cover water, this to cover fire weakness, and then the Zeraora, which is coming out in the set after this, which has been revealed and we'll get to on this channel eventually, which is a lightning type. you can just have all these different types of strong Rapidstrike V Pokemon that you accelerate energy to with Blaziken, and you can even accelerate the Rapidstrike energy to these Pokemon. So it says attach an energy, so you can attach Rapidstrike, you can attach Aurora, you can attach basic energy, whatever you want, and it goes to 2 of your benched Rapidstrike Pokemon. So you're doing 130, you have energy on this Blaziken already, and then you're setting up 2 other potential threats. So it's a very cool card. It's not overly in-your-face powerful, but Rapidstrike seems to be all of the Pokemon that I'd like the mechanics and designs of, because the Rapidstrike Pokemon seem to inherently ask the player to have a little bit of thought behind their plays in order to succeed with them. So this kind of goes right along with that whole theme of tactical strategy that Rapidstrike brings, whereas Single Strike is kind of just like, boom, you're knocked out. Larvesta, Volcarona, Bulk, Tentacool, Tentacruel. Your opponent's active is poisoned and can't retreat. Bulk. Delibird. Return this Pokemon and all cards attached to it to your deck. And then search your deck for any card and put it into your hand. So for a Twin Energy, you put this into your deck, get any card you want, and you can send up like a Lily's Pokédoll. So that's pretty interesting. That could be seen in like a control deck. Carvana, Sharpedo. Not anything, just Bulk. We have Rapidstrike, Sobble, Drizzle, and Intellion. So keep in mind that we have the Drizzle from Sword and Shield base, I think, that searches your deck for a trainer card when you evolve it. So keep that in mind. Also, Sobble has Continuous Call that searches your deck for 3 Rapidstrike basic Pokemon and puts them to your bench, which is definitely worth noting. We have that other Drizzle that I mentioned that's useful. Then we have this Intellion, and there's multiple Intellions. The other Intellion, when you evolve it, you get to search for up to 2 trainers, so that's a good card if you know, stage 2s become viable. And then this Intellion has an ability that says once during your turn, you may place 2 damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon. So pretty much the same as Feather Arrow from Decidueye GX, except it is not on a multiple prize Pokemon. So I don't know if this will be good. I definitely don't think it will be good on release, but it could be interesting down the line. Rapidstrike could get something like a Broken Time Space Stadium that allows them to evolve right away, or even Single Strike and Rapidstrike could get something like that, so who knows. But yeah, I don't think this is worth getting into play and worth having like a stage 2 evolution line in your deck just to put 2 damage counters somewhere once a turn. But I do like the design, it's just not good enough in the current game. Rapidstrike Urschafu is a stage 1 that evolves from Cubfu, and it does 30 for each of your Rapidstrike Pokemon in play. So if you have a full bench of Rapidstrike Pokemon, it does 180 for a single energy attachment if you're using Rapidstrike Energy. Because it includes itself. If you have like 5 Rapidstrike including itself plus a support Pokemon, then it does 150, which isn't too bad if you're hitting something for water weakness for just a single energy attachment. Lantern, Bulk, Thundurus. It does 30, and you can attach a lightning from your hand to a benched Pokemon. If it didn't do 30 damage to itself, I'd say it's decent because it could be a Decidueye counter, but then Decidueye just pops it in one hit if they have another Decidueye because it did 30 damage to itself. So I don't think that Thundurus is very good. Drack Assault V and Drack Assault VMAX, actually both of them are pretty interesting. So the first one has the attack Rumble Beak. It does 30 damage for a lightning energy during your opponent's next turn. Your opponent can't attach energy from their hand to the defending Pokemon. That's really interesting. Of course, they can just switch out. So if this card had like an effect that said they can't attach energy to the defending Pokemon, even if that Pokemon switches, etc. So like that Pokemon keeps the effect all the way through, that would like make this an actually like viable just make a Drack Assault deck, perhaps, but that's an interesting first attack. And then Drack Assault VMAX has Trap Spark for 1 energy. It does 60 damage, and if it's damaged by an attack next turn, put 12 damage on the defending Pokemon. So this could be like a deck where you just use Trap Spark every turn. They hit you, you Cheryl. You Trap Spark, they hit you, you Cheryl. I could see that happening. Max Impact for 4 does 200, so it's just kind of a vanilla attack. Pretty interesting, but I don't think it should, like, be competitively viable. We'd have to see if that, like, swing and then Cheryl strategy works out, which could be a fun deck, but I don't expect it to do anything crazy. We've already reviewed the Galerian birds, and I think they're all playable. The ability Psychic Construct, once during your turn, you may discard 2 from your hand to draw 1. So this should be good in Mad Party, anything that wants a little extra draw power, anything that wants to discard cards on purpose. Woobat and Woobat. If you have the same number of cards in your hand as your opponent, it does 110 for 1 energy. Probably not good. It's just bulk. Slurpuff. Follow the smell for colorless. Flip 3 coins for each heads. Choose a card from your discard pile, put it into your hand. Could be okay for a future control deck, but doesn't seem busted. Hattering, stage 2 Pokemon. Once during your turn, you may switch your active Pokemon with one of your bench Pokemon, then have your opponent switch their active Pokemon with one of their bench Pokemon. Interesting ability, and it also has a pretty decent attack, Psychic 30 plus 50 for each energy on your opponent's active Pokemon. This is like a prime example of this card would be like really, really good back in the day. Like, this is a stage 2 Pokemon that would see play in things back in like the 2004 through 2009 era. But today this is just like, well, what's the point of putting this on the board when I can just put a tag team or a V Pokemon or a VMAX on the board and it's going to live for like 2 to 3 turns. So unfortunately, all stage 2s are like bulk until proven otherwise, but a cool card nonetheless. Ditto does 60 damage times heads. You flip 3 coins, and if all of them are heads, you prevent everything done to Doug Trio next turn. Did I say Ditto? I think I said Ditto. So yeah, this is just like not a good card. Galerion Surf single strike. Leak Strike does 70 plus. If this has a tool card attached, it does 90 more and not affected by resistance. So if you have a tool on it, it does 160, and it's single strike. So like, let's say 2 of those cards are single strike energy. That means it does 200. It's not bad. It's honestly not bad, because like if you have this and Houndoom, the Houndoom just can power up in 1 turn. Like you go Houndoom, attach. Of course, that means you're evolving 2 stage 1 Pokemon, and unfortunately that typically brings things out of viability, but not a horrible card. Valerian Zapdos V, absolutely amazing card all around. Ability for each Pokemon V your opponent has in play, this Pokemon's attacks cost colorless less. Great ability. Thunderclap Kick, fighting colorless, does 170, and you discard a special energy from your opponent's active before doing damage. And if your opponent has 3 V Pokemon, you use this for a single fighting energy. So this card is cracked, very good, 5 out of 5, all around, good for the game. It's a good card, counters things, everything good about that. I think the music stopped, so sorry about that. If there was music playing and then at one point there wasn't, there is now music playing again, and we carry on. Okay, Roggenrella and Buldur and Gliggleth. Gliggleth 180, stage 2. It does 180 for 3 energy, and 50 and takes 50 less next turn. It's a stage 2 Pokemon, so Although it hits fighting weakness, which there's a lot of popular fighting weak Pokemon out there. It's a stage 2 Pokemon. You have to put 3 energy on it, and then all those energy are gone when your opponent swings 180 next turn, because everything swings 180. So not a good card. Galerion Runegus has the ability Spiteful Lithograph. If this Pokemon is in the active spot and is damaged by an attack by a Pokemon VMAX, put damage counters on the attacking Pokemon equal to the damage done to this Pokemon. And then Energy Press does 60 plus 20 more for each energy attached to the defending Pokemon. So this is a very interesting card. If I'm reading this correctly, and like let's say an Eternatus does 270 damage to this, it means it would do 270 back. Because it doesn't say, like, I don't know, I'm not sure how it would be worded if, like, okay, Runegus has 120 HP. If they do 200, I'm assuming that they take back 200 and not only take the 120 that it took for this thing to be knocked out. That's what I'm assuming. And if that's correct, then this card's actually, like, decent and would be played. Like, Energy Press does, like, let's say they have 3 energy on, you're swinging for 120 for a triple colorless energy for as long as triple colorless energy is in the format, which it shouldn't be too much longer, but at least while it's there, this is pretty good. Or it could just be a wall that you switch into against VMAX decks, so if they hit you, they take damage, which is different from other walls that just sit there and don't get hit until your opponent can get around them. This lets your opponent take the knockout, but they also get punished for it, so it's a very interesting card. This Passimian seems kinda cracked. Ability Throwing Coach. All of your Rapidstrike Pokemon's attacks do 30 more damage to your opponent's benched V and GX Pokemon. You can't use more than one of these abilities at a time, and it's very interesting that they don't just say Rule Box Pokemon, because we just got the Rule Box phrase, and this doesn't say Rule Box, so kinda sus. Fling does 20 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. Okay, so it's there for Throwing Coach. Throwing Coach lets your Rapidstrike Urschafu VMAX do 150, 150, or 180, 180 with Telescopic Sight. So this card seems ridiculous. Cubfu evolves into Single Strike or Rapidstrike Urschi. Galerion Multress V, very good card. Once during your turn, you may attach a Dark Energy from your discard pile to this Pokemon. You can't use more than one of those a turn, though. And then it does 190 for 3. So this is just like throw it in your Eternatus deck, and passively every turn it gets an energy from the discard pile. So seems pretty good. It could be used to energy switch energy from itself to Eternatus, or just attach energy to itself and eventually use it to swing for 190. So pretty good dark Pokemon. It should be seen in dark decks. Also weak to grass, not fighting, should be noted. Galerion Slow King V and Slow King V Max. Okay, so Doomword. For Dark Colorless, the defending Pokemon is knocked out at the end of your opponent's next turn. In a world where, I don't know, you like reset stamp power plant your opponent, and here I am talking about these cards that are going to be rotated out very shortly after this card comes out. Doomword could be interesting. Probably won't be like the main focus of a deck, but this attack could be used sometimes. Also note, it's a single strike Pokemon. Alright, now Single Strike VMAX Slowking has 1 attack for Dark Colorless, does 10 damage, your opponent's active is poisoned, and between turns it does 12 damage counters instead of 1. I'd like to note that I like that it has damage. It doesn't just poison the Pokemon, so the reason why I like that it does damage is because of Single Strike Energy buffing the damage. So if you have 2 Single Strike Energy, you're swinging 50 damage, and then the defending is poisoned and taking 12, so that's 170 damage. But if they don't switch out, they take 12 more, so that's 290 damage. Like, wait, did I do that math right? Yeah, I did. Okay, yeah, so 290 damage. So it really scales up very quickly if your opponent does not switch out. Also to note, Single Strike Scroll is a card that you shouldn't forget. So Single Strike Scroll, if the opponent hits into this guy, you also have Single Strike Scroll available, which is just a very, very good card. So Galerion Slowking VMAX, not sure if it will be like super competitively viable, but it's like it has enough going for it to build a deck around it that functions. Viper Dark Colorless, it does 90 or 180 if you played a Single Strike supporter this turn. Probably this could see play because of Houndoom. Yeah, this could see play. Spirit Tomb, Ghostly Scream, count the number of Pokemon cards in your opponent's discard pile, put that many damage counters on your opponent's Pokemon, and then your opponent shuffles their Pokemon from discard to deck. I really hate that they make these interesting attacks that are like, I like the design of, but they're to counter like one specific thing that definitely did not need to be countered. So the Spirit Tomb could see play. Probably won't take it just for Mad Party, but if it has other uses, then go and throw it in there. Let's see, Scallopede, stage 2, 100 for 3 energy, and if they're already poisoned, that does 220, but it's on stage 2, so that's not worth it. Scrafty, Bulk, Single Strike Urschafu. The first attack is 50, and if your opponent has a Stadium in play, discard it. And then Carnage Knuckle 100, and if this has any damage counters on it, it does 200. So Carnage Knuckle should typically be doing a lot of damage, because let's say you put an energy on with Houndoom. You know what, let's just say we put 2 energies on this with Houndoom, Single Strike energies. That also put damage on it, so we're doing plus 40 from the Single Strike energies. We're doing plus 100 because it has damage, so it's 240 on a stage 1 Pokemon. That's a lot of damage. So again, it's stage 1 Pokemon. We're setting up multiple other stage 1 Pokemon, but I think it's decent at least. Like, it's not complete bulk, but also very skeptical of any non-rule box Pokemon surviving in the format. Speaking of non-rule box Pokemon surviving in the format, this one's pretty good. Galeclaw 50, and if you played a Rapidstrike supporter from your hand this turn, it does 50 to 2 of your opponent's benched Pokemon. So let's just real quick take into account, we have Rapidstrike energy to put on this. We have that new Passimian that makes your Rapidstrikes do 30 more to benched V and GX Pokemon. And we have Telescopic Sight. So let's say we played a Rapidstrike supporter, we have Telescopic Sight and Passimian for 2 energy. We're doing 50 to the active, and 110 to 2 of your opponent's V and GX benched Pokemon. That could be pretty good. Especially since you can swing with Empoleon, switch an energy to this Xangoose, or swing with Blaziken VMAX and put an energy to the Xangoose. Excuse me. So I think the Xangoose is pretty interesting. I like the design so much. Absolutely love that attack. And I do think it is probably pretty viable. Shaman is bulk. Stoutland is bulk. Braviary is bulk. Okay, now we're getting into the interesting stuff. Welcoming Lantern. It is a Versus Seeker for Single Strike supporter cards. So it is an item that simply reads, choose a Single Strike supporter from your discard pile and put it into your hand. Could be interesting for Single Strike decks, or a deck that just wants to play Single Strike supporters. Echoing Horn. Put a basic Pokemon from your opponent's discard pile onto their bench. Rapidstrike item, but it works for any deck, any Pokemon. It's just a target whistle. Put a basic from your opponent's discard to their bench. This should see play. Putting any basic you want to clog up your opponent's bench or put a liability onto their bench is pretty good. Galerion Breastplate. The Pokemon this card is attached to that has Galerion in its name takes 30 less damage from your opponent's attacks. I think this could maybe be... Oh wait, does it have to be a non-rule box Pokemon? No, it doesn't have to be non-rule box. Could maybe be interesting. Galerion Slowking vmax is Galerion. All the birds are Galerion. So some things to keep in mind. Karen's Conviction. During this turn, your single strike Pokemon's attacks do 20 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon for each prize card your opponent's already taken. This is really interesting, especially since we have the Versus Seeker for single strike Pokemon, for single strike supporters. So like all the single strike cards, just like keep this in mind now. So like this is definitely why the Slowking comes with damage attached to it, and it's not just poison because of this, because of the single strike energy. So this is a cool card, adds on to the theme of single strike energy. I like it. Clara, search your discard pile for 2 Pokemon and 2 basic energy, put them to your hand. This is decent. I could see this seeing play in like decks that really need their specific Pokemon back, most likely being a non-rule box deck that needs like a 5th or 6th copy of a Pokemon. Avery, draw 3 cards and your opponent discards their bench Pokemon until they have 3. I don't think this is actually going to be played, although it can counter Eternatus VMAX. Galerion Zapdos is just a better counter to Eternatus. Now I do like having these passive kind of counters to cards and decks, but this is just a garbage card because against everything else but Eternatus, you let your opponent clear their bench of support Pokemon and like save themselves from having those gusted up and knocked out, or they just get more room to play down other important Pokemon. But sometimes you're going to have to play this because you need to draw cards from it. So like this is just bad. We just needed Balelba to not be banned. That would have been an Eternatus counter. This is just not good. If you could choose, maybe, because against a lot of situations you don't want your opponent to discard their bench down to 3. Brawley, I didn't even realize that that was the name of a character because it just sounds so much like Brawley from Dragon Ball Z. Search your deck for 3 Rapidstrike basic Pokemon, put them onto your bench. Wouldn't you just rather play Research and draw 7? Probably. And then Dynatree Hill, Pokemon in play cannot be healed. Pokemon uses the word recover when referring to special conditions. So Pokemon can still recover from special conditions. Okay. Yeah, Pokemon in play can't be healed. Probably not that great because you want to prevent your opponent from healing on their turn, and they can just bump this stadium out of play with their own stadium before they heal. So interesting to counter decks that are using Cheryl, but will only work if those decks are playing low stadium counts. So overall, we got some cool cards here. We've got the Galerian Birds, which are all good for the game. Galerian Slowking VMAX, which is meh. Galerian Arctozolt VMAX, which is meh, but they're both like playable, but probably not like high meta decks. And then Blaziken VMAX, which I think should be played. That should be a good card. We got some good trainers. So like out of 70 plus cards, we actually have a high amount of like decent to playable cards in this mini set. We'll be getting more. We already got some leaks for Chilling Reign, but we probably have like another 70 cards, or like maybe even closer to 100 cards coming out of the 2 mini sets for the Calyrex cards. So we haven't seen Calyrex VMAXs revealed yet, but that should be coming soon since that set comes out in like 6 weeks or something in Japan. This set comes out in a week in Japan. So lots of new exciting cards coming out, and people have been rumoring that we might be reaching the end of the VMAX sets sometime this year because of that. There was like a leak or like information about something called V Climax, so that might be like the last set of all the V cards. So some interesting stuff. We'll have to see, but I think the game could be going in a good direction again. If you're new here and you haven't seen my card design videos, be sure to check those out, because I did talk about in my history of power creep video kind of how we had like a pretty bad standard format, or pretty bland, pretty big basic heavy, however you want to call it, or however you thought about it, but pretty big basic heavy format at one point. and then that eventually went to Mega Pokemon, and then to GX Pokemon. And I hold the GX era of Pokemon very high, in like the eras of the Pokemon TCG. I think the GX era was just a fantastic time up until tag teams. So I think they're working into another good era and using VMAX Pokemon as the transitional period. So we'll have to see if that does happen, and I hope it does. But yeah, so I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think about these cards in the comments down below. And if you were new here, be sure to subscribe to the channel for daily Pokemon TCG content, and check out PotownStore.com, the best place to get PTCGO codes, and use code Celio for 5% off. Have a great day. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time here on Celio's Network.